Okay, we'll go ahead and bring the city council meeting to order. I'd like to first ask everyone to stand and join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Aaron, could you please do roll call?
Jenny Bauer-Schultz.
Here.
Matt Dyer.
Here.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Here.
Scott Murray.
Here.
And Abby Wilder is absent.
Okay, was everyone given a chance to review the minutes from our previous meeting held on May 5th?
Make a motion to accept them as emailed.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. First of all, we do have a guest from the high school. You want to introduce yourself? I know you've been here a few times, but.
Hi, I'm Olivia Bessison. I'm a junior at Belmont High School.
All right, thanks for being here. All right. And we're done with Mayor's Youth Council meetings for the year, so she's still coming to meetings.
You can still come.
Okay, so we do have, tonight we're going to be talking about the utility rates, the bond ordinance, everything that's going on with this water project that we're working on. So we have a financial advisor here, we have the engineering firm here, so I'm going to let Ann take it from here and let the discussion start.
Okay, so yes, we have two ordinances that are going to be introduced this evening, and to assist with explanation, we have Jennifer Wilson from Crow, who assisted with the water rate study, and that forms the basis for rate adjustments that are being introduced in the new water rate amendment. And then Kim Blanchett with Barnes and Thornburg is joining us through Teams, and she is our local bond, or not local bond counsel, she's bond counsel and is going to go through the bond issuance ordinance that is part of the overall SRF program. And then we've got Ben Adams with Commonwealth here to answer questions, because all of the information tonight correlates and goes together in conjunction with that project as it moves forward. So Jennifer, if you want to go through the water rate study.
Will do. Actually, I would like Ben to speak first.
Okay.
Because basically we're doing a water, I'm Jennifer Wilson with Crow, and we're doing a water rate increase because of the projects and the great financing package that we've received to fund the project. So I think it'd be best for put Ben on the.
I didn't know I was supposed to speak. As you guys know, we're working on a very large water project, and we finally gotten to the point where we have finalized the plans, everything's been submitted for permitting, and we're actually bidding the projects right now as we speak. And in fact, we bid the third of four divisions of work just this morning. So we received 3 bids today, and without going through a bunch of numbers for you guys, the bids have come in really phenomenal. We've had quite a bit of competition for each of the 3 contracts that have bid so far, and we're trending over $1 million to the good, maybe even $2 million to the good. So what that's allowed us to do is that in the final contract, which I'm going to bid on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, similar to the other 3 contracts, we've added the total number of services that we think we can replace. So we're going to take pricing for an additional 500 service replacements. So just as a real brief refresher, the project involved a bunch of water main replacement, and it also involved a number of lead service line replacements. And when we first started talking, we were talking about approximately 500. It was 518 to be exact. We were hoping to get 518 services out of the system with new services. When the final plans were done, we had upped that number to 560, and was feeling good about that as well, because we had learned some of the services we had originally targeted were not lead, so we didn't have to replace them. But again, due to the great bids we've gotten to date, I've added some mandatory alternates to the final bid where we're going to try to get at least, I mean, fingers crossed, another 500 services replaced. double what I originally told you guys literally 6, 7, 8 months ago. And I think it's a phenomenal win for the city of Decatur, I really do. And fingers crossed the final bids come in good, but so far so good is all I can say. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
This is a great chance for us to replace a lot of water main and get a lot of lead service lines out of the system. I think thank you to Commonwealth for helping so much with finding the grant money that was out there. It actually got increased more than we thought at the beginning. So it's been, and then some low interest loans. So it's been a great project. It's going to be exciting. It is going to tear the city up for the next year or so, but it's good. It's called progress.
Yeah, I never got into any of that, Dan, but just for everybody's information, and I know Jennifer will go through some of this, we're tentatively scheduled to close on the funding on June 25. Is that okay? June
Yes,
25th, yeah,
At the end of June.
at the end of June, and assuming that happens, we'll be able to issue contracts, notice of proceed to the various contractors, and then they'll get started. Probably we're looking at construction maybe August, probably best case. Could go a little later than that, but that's when you're really gonna see some activity here in the downtown area. So, FYI.
Okay.
All right.
That's Ben's part.
Well,
Thank you,
and
Dan.
I'm open for questions if anybody has any questions, but I'm gonna hang back. Let Jennifer take over.
Very good. As I said, I'm Jennifer Wilson with Crow, and I was here a year and a half ago, 9 months ago, when we did the initial rate increase for the water and the sewage works at that time. We did, we did a 43% increase at that point in time, and it was phased in over a 2-year period. We did 28% immediately, and then 12% was implemented earlier this year. And so now I want to give you the update of how those rate increases have gone and the reason why we're in front of you again requesting another 15%. So we looked at 2023, 24, and 25 as our historical test years. We made adjustments for the 2026, what we saw coming up here in 26, and we created the revenue requirements, which includes operation and maintenance, taxes, current debt service, proposed debt service reserve annual funding, and capital funding. The reason why I'm in front of you again today, so shortly after your last rate increases, is that you've received a fabulous package from the State Revolving Fund Loan Program. They are giving you basically $5.5 million in grants, so that's free money that you do not need to pay back. They are giving you $2.5 million as a 0% loan, so all you have to do is pay back the principal amount, no interest on it. And then they're giving you $14 million of their traditional loan, which is their lowest interest rate loan, and they're giving that to you at 2.98%. And that will go out for 35 years, so they're also allowing you to extend the payback of that loan. So as I said, your current rates were in effect as January 1st, 2026, and I'll show you here next. In your income statement, the reason why we did those rate increases was that in 2023, your revenues, which is the blue line on the left, in 2023 was less than your expenses and debt service, which means your coverage was less than 1%. In all your previous debt issuances, you said you would at least maintain coverage of 100%. So you were needing to have the rate increase, and that's why you put one into effect in September of 2024. So in 2024, your revenues slightly exceeded your operating expenses and your debt service, and that was designed so that you actually had some money for annual capital funding. And then here in 2025, you also had a full year of that rate increase, so you brought in some cash to do some capital funding, pay-as-you-go capital. So the main reason why we're here is because you're issuing debt. You already have $20.4 million outstanding, and it's shown there the 2017 bonds, 2018, 2020 bonds, and then you're going to be paying back the $2.5 million, only the par amount, over 35 years, and then the $14 million over 35 years at 2.98%. That's an increase in debt service of $726,921, and that was not factored into the previous rate increase. So we are needing to raise rates so that we can pay back this debt service. However, this debt service, what I try to do on analysis is usually when you're issuing debt, per $1 million, it will cost you about $67,000 in annual debt service. That's what happened on your 2020 bonds. And these bonds that we're doing now, you're getting $22 million, your payback is $33,000. So it's half of what it normally would be. So you're taking advantage of this rate financing package you have now. Unfortunately, it means a rate increase, but in the long run, you don't have to pay as much for those projects that you're gonna be able to do. So overall, your revenue requirements is $5,179,000, and we project for 2026, you're going to bring in 4.5 million, so that's a deficit of 671,000. Now, I told you that your debt service is gonna go up by $726,000. One of the benefits is one of the projects that you were gonna do with annual funding, we're now pushing into the bond issuance, and so we can actually lower your pay-as-you-go capital. So it kind of saved you $100,000 or so there. So this results in a 15% rate increase. We're raising additional $671,000, and it's to go for the annual debt service and your debt service reserve funding. That means for a user, the typical monthly bill for someone inside the city, usually they'll use between 500 and 700 cubic feet. So we're seeing an $8 to $10.80 increase in their monthly bill from what the rates are now. And for an outside city user, that means a $9.90 to $13.50 increase for a typical residential user. We did a rate survey, updated the rate survey we did a year and 9 months ago. As you can see, your rates will go up for a typical 5,000 gallon, 600 cubic feet user by about $10. So you are on the higher end for water rates and charges, but you're not the highest. And that's what I have.
Never ends.
Yep. No, it's, you know, a lot of these water lines that they're gonna be replacing are 50 to 100 years old. You know, and sometimes we hear complaints about the water, and we're doing something about it. There's not much else you can say.
And our infrastructure is comparable to other municipalities. Everybody's facing this.
The ones that have the super low rates on those, it's gonna be coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's not fun for anybody. I mean, raising rates is definitely not.
Well, I think too, it just feels like an even more challenging time with inflation, gas prices, all that. And so then when we talk about increasing rates another 15% again, that's hard. But I also believe that good water is important to everyone's health. And so I think that's an important factor as well. And like you said, people have been complaining about the city water for a long, long time. And so I do feel like this is, a step in the right direction.
Do you have a forecast of what it will look like in the next 5 years, or the rate needed?
I don't anticipate that you guys will need to do another rate increase. You're probably gonna be pretty stable here for the next 5 years. As operating expenses do go up, that means you have less money for annual capital funding. Your debt service is gonna be pretty stable for the next 11 years, so there might be needing to change. You'll need to look at it again in another 4 to 5 years.
Aaron may be able to speak to this. I don't think Josh is here, but something to consider. And some of the expenses that are incurred on an annual basis go to water main repairs and breaks, and they average anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 per repair.
Probably.
And I think there was one, when, in our discussions, there was one stretch that had maybe 13 breaks
A
or
few years
13.
ago, before we replaced the water main on High Street, we did, in that 12-month period, we did 13 main repairs. And you're looking at, again, probably $10,000 to $20,000 every time you have a break, with overtime and everything else going on. Elm Street, I mean, just drive down Elm Street and count the patches. I think you're gonna have to go 3 or 4 times to count them all. So this is something that's needed done for sure.
Dan, I can tell you from experience, when we first started, that we would be lucky to have, we might have one main break in 6 months. The water mains are getting old, they're needing replaced.
How many main breaks did we have? Was it 2 summers ago when we took the tower down? And we had, I know we had over 30 in a month's time. And that's just showing you how bad the mains are.
And just so you know, the lifespan of a typical water main is 50 years. And most of them that we're replacing are well over that.
Yeah.
So not to blame anybody, but were we not doing anything in the 80s or 90s?
Yeah, we put water main into Fleetwood. We put water main out to Thunderbird. I mean, we were proactive, but we didn't have the trouble that we have now.
It seemed like there was a focus on expansion of new lines and maintenance of existing, but there maybe wasn't a large focus on looking at the lifespan of the system and building a framework for replacement. And it's taken a different approach now. And so I think, and part of the rates and part of what is encompassed is a segment that's attributable to capital improvements and asset management and being able to stay a little bit more proactive before they're aging to a point where they're consistently breaking down.
I don't think asset management was as much in your face as it is today either.
Right.
Now there's not an option but to have asset management.
Ben, you said you guys were adding another 500 services. I mean, how many bad services were there then?
Tyler, they don't know the exact number of lead services. It's estimated to maybe be as high as 2,000. So what we have found out, because when we were doing the design, we were able to do a bunch of potholing.
Right.
And in certain areas where we thought there was definitely lead, there was more copper or poly than we thought. And so we just sort of kept going outside of the footprint of where we were looking at to try to see if we could find more. And we're going to continue to do that because, quite frankly, the services that I've added on to the project here most recently are ones that we still sort of have to ferret out and find. So there may even be some monies left over in this whole funding package for you guys to do some further investigation so that you can really pinpoint exactly how many lead services remain. And, quite frankly, this wasn't really discussed, but this whole thing is being mandated on any city that has any kind of lead services. And they're under the gun, everybody is, it's not just the city of Decatur, to get this problem corrected in the next, 10 years. So whether or not that's doable or even financially feasible for many, communities, I don't know. And, but what I'm hopeful that at the end of this project, we can say we replaced as many mains as we could, afford to do with the funding that we've got. And then to boot, I hope we'll be able to also say there's X number of, bad services left that we need to replace. And then we can develop a plan to do that. And quite frankly, in your rates and in what you guys are going to adopt, what you've already adopted, you have a capital improvements program that's going to continue to take on these lead services moving forward. So you're pre-funding that as part of this rate increase as well. couldn't be any more proactive than you're being. And again, nobody likes a rate increase, I get that, and you guys have just increased rates to sort of catch up with inflation, which literally every community had to do. And this is an extra deal, but it's, again, it's being mandated, there's not much you can do about it. You got what I thought was the most favorable funding package you could have gotten. And again, it helped mitigate this rate increase that you guys are considering tonight. So, I mean, again, there are a lot of good things. Nobody wants to pay more, but a lot of good things.
Alright, well, thank you both, and then, do you mind sharing your screen?
I've been trying to get that to work, and I can't seem to get it to show, so.
Okay. Well, we have,
If you have Kim on the line, I think you could still hear her through your system.
sure, but I was able, when, I may disconnect you, and
Okay.
we'll get her up on the screen.
That'd be fun.
And I'll need that adapter piece as well. Thank you.
Your nameplate off.
I'm gonna try and give you the floor here, Kim.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Just let me know when you want me to start talking.
You're up. You are welcome to. I'm just trying to get less of me on that screen is really what it amounts to.
I'd rather have more of you on that screen than me, but. You want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good evening. I'm Kim Blanchett with Barnes and Thornburg. We've worked with the city on a couple other bond financings as well. I can promise you that I don't make as many messes as Ben, so my messes are really document driven. And so kind of the way that this works, as you guys have done in the past, is you have the plan, you have
wish this covered it all, but it doesn't cover the whole city, but.
So Kim, this ordinance authorizes the not to exceed borrowing $22 million based on the financing package presented by SRF. It establishes all of the necessary funds within the city for receiving the revenues and descriptions on where those revenues are to be placed to properly account for the debt service. And then it authorizes Aaron as our clerk treasurer to make payments on the debt service over the life of the bond issuance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it authorizes the mayor and the clerk to sign necessary documents for the transaction, which will be closing documents as well.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
She just said you're gonna make payments for 35 years,
Yeah.
so no
I don't know,
retiring for
yeah.
you.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions about any of the presentations made? Okay. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you for being present and being available. So I appreciate it, all of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys for all the work on this. So now we go into the,
So now it would really be introducing the two the two bonds. So we have, or two bonds, the two ordinances. We have,
The rate ordinance first.
yes, we have the rate ordinance and the bond ordinance as well.
The rate is 10, number 10. Erin, is that correct?
That is correct.
10, okay. I make a motion to introduce ordinance 2026-10 on its first reading by short title only.
Second.
motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Ordinance number 2026-10, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which establishes amended rates and charges for the use of and the service rendered by the Decatur water system.
I make a motion to pass ordinance 2026-10 on its first reading.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call vote?
Jenny Bauer Schultz.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Scott Murray.
Yes.
Abby Wilder is absent.
I make a motion to table ordinance 2026-10 until our next meeting on June 2nd.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, okay. Table that till June 2nd.
Thank you all.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You go right into the next one.
Yes, and then we would have ordinance number 2026-11, which would be the bond issuance ordinance.
I make a motion to introduce ordinance 2026-11 on its first reading by short title only.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
This one's, even short title, this one's a little long. Ordinance number 2026-11, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, authorizing the acquisition, construction, and installation of certain improvements for the waterworks system of the City of Decatur, Indiana, the issuance of revenue bonds to provide the cost thereof, the collection, segregation, and distribution of the revenues of such system, the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of such revenue bonds and other matters connected therewith, including the issuance of notes in anticipation of such bonds, and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
I make a motion to pass ordinance 2026-11 on its first reading.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call vote?
Jenny Bauer Schultz.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Scott Murray.
Yes.
Abby Wilder is absent.
Then I make a motion to table ordinance 2026-11 until our next meeting on June 2nd.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, okay, we'll table that one also. Okay, last meeting we talked a little bit about July 4th fireworks. I know the chamber was asking for a little bit more than normal. because they're hoping to have a bigger show with the 250th celebration for our country. Yeah, I think you guys asked Aaron to look and see what we spent last year on that and the cow thumping, because we won't have to spend it on cow thumping this year because that money, it didn't get used last year, so they're holding it.
So last year we spent 2,500 toward the 4th of July fireworks and 1,000 towards the Calathumpian fireworks. I looked in the appropriation that we would use, and it looks like we're doing well in that appropriation. So an increase to this contribution can be accommodated if council so chooses. I know that it was mentioned possibly, I mean, this is 3,500, but I believe it was mentioned maybe 5,000 was brought up last meeting. Again,
Just for this year?
correct, for this celebration, yes.
So we would double? Cause we gave 25 last year? Or 2,500, and then,
I think for fireworks my understanding was between 4th of July and Calathumpian, there had been a total of $3,500 allocated for
Correct.
for fireworks, but $1,000 was being held by chamber because the Calathumpian fireworks show did not go. So there's already an extra $1,000 that's been budgeted for fireworks that would not otherwise be spent. And so the $2,500 plus the 1,000 would be available without any unbudgeted expenditure.
Correct.
I'm happy with whatever you're comfortable with.
me?
Whoever. You want it 3,500 or 5,000?
I feel comfortable with
4,000?
3,500, I don't know about 5,000. If anybody has any, anything to say towards more?
I just know everything's expensive.
Jenny made a motion for 3,500. I'll second.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, motion and second for 3,500. Any other discussion?
I just am afraid to get too much. It is fireworks, and it is special, and it is our 250th, but it is taxpayer dollars that we're spending. So whatever promotion it is, I think we just need to keep in mind that.
But it is a $25,000 show that is also help provided by business owners in this community too. So I agree with both of you. I'm not taking any, but people need to realize that it might be a $25,000 show, but there's other companies in this community that put their money together to support our community on the 4th of July. It's not $25,000 coming out of city funds.
Right.
A lot of people get there in their minds that the city pays for all this stuff. There's a lot of businesses in this community that give a lot of money to things people don't realize that they take for granted. Because we all seen what happened when they took the fireworks away. It was like the end of the world, but there's a lot of people that donate a lot of money to that to make that happen. So,
And years ago, Adam McGee would beg for money at Rural King parking lot and other places to put on a $7,000 or $8,000 show, which was great. Well, that show now is this $25,000, and really appreciate those over the many years that have stepped up to do this. I think in an era of Facebook discussion forums, I mean, people can get pretty nasty when it comes up to subjects like this, but.
Well, and even like the date and the location, and combining it with the Thursday night concert series, by consolidating that event and having it as close to the 4th of July as possible while still having the Thursday night concert series allows for a larger fireworks display because you're not duplicating expenses and you're not hiring 2 sets of talent. And so there are a lot of concerted efforts by the chamber to make this a big special event for the community, and a lot of contributions from businesses.
Yes, very much appreciated.
Right, I agree. I think the chamber's doing a lot of work for people to enjoy the quality of life here in our community. The fireworks are gonna be great, the concerts are great. I think, to add on to what Tyler said, there's a lot of businesses that support these events in our community, and we should be thankful for that. So rather than just constantly complaining about the day or where they're at or anything, maybe people should be thanking these businesses and thanking the chamber for doing all the work behind the scenes. So, I have a motion and a second for 3,500. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Okay, we talked about credit card rewards policy. I think we just have to go over this for council.
Right, so we discussed this in Board of Works and we received their approval. Last year, we went with First Bank of Bern for our credit cards, and part of that is they do have a credit card rewards as part of their credit cards. So I got with State Board of Accounts and asked them if we should, how do we account for this money, and they said we should come up with a policy. So I just wanted to discuss this policy or go over just a few things with this policy to council as well. The purpose of this policy is to establish clear guidelines for the proper use, accounting, and disposition of credit card rewards, points, or cashback incentives earned through the City of Decatur's authorized use of department credit cards. And any credit card rewards that can be redeemed for cash or cash equivalents shall be deposited into the City of Decatur's general fund and accounted for as city revenue. And that is kind of what the State Board of Accounts, that's their main thing, is to make sure that we account for where this money is going, and then that's what we're doing across the board. So we just need, I believe I gave everyone a copy of the policy. We just need council's approval for this policy moving forward.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Jamie has some plaza events and street closures. Bring us up to date.
Alright, so I've went over a few of the events already. These that I have today are for June. So the first one I have is Decatur Pride Festival. That is Saturday, June 27th, and it's on the plaza. It's from 3 to 10, and they'll start setting up around 7 a.m. and it'll be tore down by 11 p.m. They are renting the plaza. It's a private event this year, and they're just asking for First Street to be closed between the parking lots, similar to how it's done on a concert night. And Two Brothers will be serving alcohol there.
Question on the private event versus public. Last year was public?
Last year it was a public event, so they got to you use the plaza for free. And then if it's a private event, it'll basically it's for security for them, so they'll be able to, if anybody comes in unwanted, they'll be able to make sure that they can get them out.
Do we have other events that are set up that way?
Yep, we have people that run it private.
Like
Wedding-
a
wedding
wedding?
Every wedding
receptions,
wedding
Yeah, we
reception,
do have a lot of events.
Graduation parties.
class reunions.
That's really
What was that date again? I'm sorry.
That is Saturday, June 27th.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then we also have Downtown Decatur Day, which is a Main Street event. So that is Friday, June 19th. And on Friday the 19th, they'll just be using the plaza. That's from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. and they'll start setting up around noon. And so they added a Friday night event, and it's Singo. So they're gonna have a Disney themed or like a kids Singo, and then an 80s and 90s music Singo after that. And then Saturday, June 20th is Downtown Decatur Day. And that is street closures. So it's 2nd Street from Monroe to Jefferson, Madison Street from 2nd to 3rd, and Court Street from 2nd to 3rd. And that will be shut down from 7 until
place from 10 to 2. And it's vendors on the street, food, there's a car show, there's a kids zone, so there's a lot of activities and vendors for that one. And that's Friday, June 19th, Plaza only, and then Saturday, June 20th, on the downtown streets. So that's all I've got.
So essentially, you're screening these now versus them really coming before council.
Exactly, yep. Yep, so this is more of just, here's what's coming up, they turn everything into me, then they're good.
Okay, thanks for the
Thank
update.
you, Jan.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have, we're just about through all the CF1s. This is the last one. Compliance with people's tax abatements. This is for Champion Homes. I think Aaron can update you a little bit on it. We did not have a representative from Champion Homes here.
Colton Bickle wasn't able to be here, and then we don't have anyone from Champion Homes. I did reach out to Champion Homes after reviewing their CF1 for both real property and personal property, because I felt like there would be some questions asked. I did get a response from the individual. I believe it's probably the accountant that prepared the forms. He did say, I'm trying to track down a contact person for tonight, which we were unable to do. However, in the meantime, I suspect one of the questions that might come up this evening is related to the employment numbers, since the facility is below projections. I went ahead and reached out to the site to request an update on employment. They responded that they are currently at 136 employees between manufacturing and automation at the Decatur facility. They project the number of employees will hover between 130 to 150 over the next couple of years. That may answer one of the questions there when it comes to additional employees and current employees. So there are two here. One is for real property, and then one is for the personal property.
So they were estimating 232 employees, and they just have 136.
Correct.
They anticipated wages to be higher than what they actually are as well.
They do seem to be constantly hiring. And I know one of their issues with their type of manufacturing is a lot of it is directly related to the government. They're building a lot of government, like FEMA type housing. So the government's not buying what they anticipated. It's kind of hard to control. And the building sat empty for some time. I want to give them a little grace, but I also want anybody that's going through this process to come as close as they can, or we just saw some well above what they anticipated in some other CF1s.
It's valuable for representatives of the companies who receive
help.
the benefit of the tax abatements to be present, to be able
Explain
to
that.
address questions and concerns and provide some feedback as to why their actual numbers aren't reflective of what they anticipated on their applications.
Or they're going to be in the future.
Yes. That maybe this is an outlier, but we don't know that
Right.
because we don't have the capacity to ask someone or have the ability to ask someone.
Do we have to do it today? Can we table it and
do.
have them come back
This
the next
is-
time? or-
Yeah,
And
they
this
actually the county due date or deadline was last Friday. I received this last Thursday. I reached out to the county and they approved for us to present this at tonight's meeting, and they would accept, if we do approve, they will accept a 5/19 date on that approval. So
And do you know, did you contact them previously about the CF1s or how?
So Colton has, he reached out to all the businesses. He started, I believe he said he started that process possibly in February or March to let them know that, you know, these were going to be due in May. So they have been notified, and I've worked with them too, particularly Champion Homes, because of the issue of them turning them in so late, and then also requesting someone to be here to discuss. I figured there would be questions.
And if it doesn't get passed this year, it's just a 1 year.
Right.
It's a 1-year suspension. I mean, they can submit a CF1 next year and show improvement and have it reinstated. I mean, the ordinance that granted.
Or come explain to us why,
Right.
simply.
Right.
I'd make a motion to deny it for this year.
We'll need to decide on real property and also the personal property. So, do we want to do the real property first, Matt?
He said yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I will second that.
So a motion and a second to deny the real property, CF1. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Now the personal property.
Who made the motion on that?
I did.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to deny it as well.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. This will just be a 1 year suspension of their tax abatement, and they'll have a chance next year to refile. Okay, did you have anything else?
Did Beth left? I take it. Okay, so in the Board of Works meeting, Beth from USI and also Matt Schultz discussed USI's plan to update our ADA transition and Title VI implementation plan that will be included. Actually, the plans will be an update for this year with maintenance for next year. And the reason I'm bringing it up, Board of Works already approved to move forward. The reason I'm bringing up is because this was not budgeted this year. This was not budgeted this year. So I wanted to have the council approve to use the Economic Development Income Tax, the old CDIT fund, if you will, to pay for this. This year's project fee would be $45,000, and then next year for the maintenance would be $10,000. And then from that point on, we would take this on ourselves. But I just want to get approval for the appropriation, since it wasn't appropriated out of the economic development. I just want council to be aware. Is that what the question is, or?
I didn't realize that wasn't a budgeted.
No, it came up that it needed to take place, if you will. We needed to update it, so.
So yes, it's been approved by Board of Works to move forward with contracting with USI, but now it needs to be paid for. And what you're saying is that there are funds available, but we just need to do an additional appropriation.
There are funds available, but they weren't appropriated for this particular. We won't do an additional. We will utilize the funds that are existing in there. We had appropriated $400,000 for the 2nd Street project from Monroe Street to Jackson, and we are not going to be doing that this year.
Okay.
So we have those funds available that I would like to use for this particular plan. And this plan is very important because we would not be able to apply for CCMG without this plan in place this year. So.
And the other thing is, so she just mentioned Second from Monroe to Jackson. The plan is to put that into the community crossings for next year. And the reason it's getting pushed back, it's been pushed back over and over, and it needs to get done. But because the water lines, the project that we're doing with water lines is going to do that one this summer. So we need to move it back another year because we don't want to tear it up right after we just,
Put it down.
yeah. So that's the whole reason behind that.
And we need this to apply for CCMG,
community
so
crossings,
it's,
yes.
yeah. So I just need approval to
So
utilize
moved.
those funds. Thank you.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Did you have anything additional?
No.
Okay, we will go to department heads. Kevin? We'll let you think and come back if you want to.
I mean, I would echo what a lot of you said about the online report. It's actually kind of sad that grown adults display that type of behavior. I would remind that the children are watching.
Yeah. You know, and I do want to make a comment about that since you're bringing that up. The other day, there was Jamie put on a picture of our Mayor's Youth Council and talking about the things they're working on, the projects they've been working on. And someone decided to jump on there and say, why don't they look at the lights along 13th Street or something? You know, it's sad when we're trying to take the youth and get them involved in our community, but it's the adults that are actually acting like the kids. And it gets old. These kids are doing great things, and somebody wants to bring up something else that they don't like that has nothing to do with the city. It's NDOT. They're NDOT lights. I mean, this stuff, there's no place for it. For sure. Yes. Kara?
The park board approved, we're going to, pave some of the trails. We'll start at Kikianga Lake and go, 1,139 feet on the trail, cause we had a certain amount we could spend, so that's where we're going on it. So that'll be coming, we'll post when that trail will be shut down for a little while as they're working on that. So that the company's gonna let us know. And then they're also fixing 52 foot by 9.5 foot out at Rev, kind of between field 3 and where you head over to east. There was a part that was kind of smashed and they put a,
Was when they were doing the tornado alarm.
siren up,
Yeah, the tornado siren, yeah.
So that's gonna get fixed and then they're gonna crack seal the whole thing as well.
Was it the outfield light? Okay.
And then we have a big event coming up at Rev, the Decatur Diamond Dining event. We do have, a couple people already signed up, 2 big vendors out there, so $25 a day, they can rent a space out there and they can sell food or beverages.
And is there a baseball or softball tournament going on that day?
Softball tournament with 50 people in it,
50,
or 40 teams, excuse me.
40 teams.
40 teams,
Wow.
June 12th through the 14th. So we don't know the exact times they're playing yet, we'll find out that week. But they will play Friday night, all day Saturday, and pretty much all day Sunday.
Okay, great.
So let's all pray for no rain that weekend.
It's the same weekend as the sculpture tour.
Sculpture tour, wildflower, Calvary wildflower.
Right, right.
And something, oh, the 100-year pool celebration's that Friday night.
Right, yes it is. Okay.
It's a very busy week.
It's a busy weekend. Okay, thank you for that. Kurt? Aaron? Bill?
Good now.
Are you? We were worried.
The sugar was a little low.
Okay.
Little.
Jamie? Jamie, nothing? Matt?
We did finish up on 12th Street, so that water line is in. There is a couple little, storm structures they're gonna fix. And I think in 2 weeks, asphalt's coming to take all that.
Okay, good. Nice. That was a good project. Thanks for your guys stepping up and getting that done. Anything from council?
Do we get updates on, I know the bridge reconstruction project is not our project, but are they on schedule, ahead of schedule?
So
I've heard
Matt and
that's
I,
gonna be done, in July or August?
Yeah, so Matt and I were over there the other day talking to the project manager, and looking at what they found so far and what's being fixed. The biggest holdup right now is they can't get into the water until July 1st because of a fish spawn. That's a state rule or a DNR rule. So there's work that has to be done underneath with riprap around the piers and along the bank and all that. So I think they're on schedule, but I think right now what we're being told is still middle of August, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the bridge will be done before they can even get down
Below.
They're pouring the ends, the approaches now, right? And then they're gonna rip up where they stopped up toward, coming this way up towards First Street. I think that'll be the next time they come back, but right now they just have to, they're gonna wait a little bit and they can't get in the,
that jackhammer out now, because if it passes, they have, the state will come back through and sound it again, but if it doesn't, they'll be ready to pour the deck.
anything else?
I texted the mayor and Matt about this a couple weeks ago, but I was out on Mother's Day doing Mother's Day things. I wasn't. And I saw a guy dumping his cardboard at the recycling place that is closed on the weekend. So I walked over and I asked him because I was curious what he was doing. He's from Monroe and he's throwing his cardboard on the ground. So then somebody else had already done that. So then I asked why he was doing this, and he said, well, there's the bins aren't here, and I'm going to put the cardboard down. And I said, well, now you're also littering like this person is littering. So then I convinced him to pick up his cardboard and take it back to Monroe with him. So there was that situation that I witnessed. I was out at the compost pile, and there's a guy out there I took a picture of. I didn't talk to him because he was behind the pile of woods. I was like, I'm out here by myself. He was putting something that wasn't limbs in the compost pile. I don't know why I'm on weekend patrol, but so if I go out to one of these places and I illegally dump something, what is the penalty for me as a resident?
It could be littering, just under the state statute.
So I think that we should create either more straightforward rules or professional signs that say, like over there, say for Decatur residents only, and here's your fine, and you're on camera, and we will prosecute you if you illegally dump, and do the same thing out there, that if you illegally dump something, you'll be fined $1,000, and we'll put cameras up, because all you're doing now is just dumping stuff and chasing people, and I don't know, since I witnessed it myself, and then I talked to the guy, he goes, well, because I asked him, he said, is there anywhere else I could get, recycle this? And I said, well, residents of Decatur have recycling. And I said, where do you live? The Monroe. So not only did he bring it from Monroe, he threw it on the ground, and then this guy's out there throwing his stuff. So I think we need to be a little more, tighten it up a little bit more than just a hand-painted sign or no real rules, or we need cameras, whatever it takes. But the residents of Decatur use the services and they deserve it. And we have people from out of town or whatever this guy thought he needed to dump out from his wood shop in the pile. I was like, so.
Well, the other part of it is Decatur residents pay for these services.
Right.
Not just
That's
use
what
them,
I told him.
They pay for them.
Yeah. So the guy was perfectly nice that I talked to. He took his cardboard with him home. But
What we used to do is if we caught him on camera, I would turn it over. This is when Lenny was there. I would turn it over to Lenny. Lenny would get the
License?
plate or whatever, and make them come get it. Jump in the dumpster,
Yeah.
whatever was left or whatever.
so I'd be willing to entertain if you have a sign-up sheet or put your address on here, put your driver's license, put your license plate number. If you're legally doing this, it's $1,000 fine. I'll support anything, but people just can't keep dumping trash around, and we just keep making Facebook posts about it.
And that's why we got rid of this weekend.
Right. Well, that's why I told the guy. He goes, where'd it go? I was like, well, it's because people from out of town were dumping their trash here. So
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the next resort would be
getting rid of it.
Right.
So
Right.
anyways, that was
Is there a camera at that location?
Yeah.
I don't, I've
There
done my stuff.
is, but the previous guy in charge did a really bad job of, buying stuff. So it's a third-party thing that he only has passwords for, so.
So we're looking at upgrading the
We're looking at
cameras.
upgrading that part of that.
Because like Scott said, we do want to keep the service. I used it this past week. I don't use it that often, but my daughters helped me trim up some trees and we took the limbs over there. It was great to get rid of it. So,
And it's a lot cleaner than it looked a few weeks ago.
yeah.
You could put flock cameras up there.
Well, I was gonna ask about that, if that's in a,
If I'm gonna go to the work to try to track someone down, I just give them a ticket and move on. I mean, I'm not gonna play the littering police and say, can you come please pick up your trash?
no, I wouldn't either. I would just be a straight up
Yeah,
fine.
I think that's what it should be.
Was there fine signs up at the recycling place or not?
It's not like it's in your face, visible, professional. It's like you have to go find it. It's like it's on the side of the fence, right? You'd have to go up and read it, and like it's not like you enter this facility and like here are your rules as you enter, so that you know what's expected. It's like I'm just gonna go take this and throw it because there's other things. I see why he did it
Right.
because it was already laying there.
Well, and I think someone like that may think they were doing us a favor by bringing recycling.
They
The
did.
fact of the matter is, we still pay for it. We pay to
Right.
get rid of it.
People
And
don't
Monroe has
understand
recycling, and so does the solid waste district.
People don't understand we pay more to recycle than we do to get rid of trash.
We do.
It needs to be state. It costs more to
Right.
recycle than it does to throw it away.
But there is recycling at the solid waste district every day, or 5 days a week.
And Saturdays, 8 to noon.
Okay, Saturdays 8 to noon.
And on Thursdays, went out there by
By D&D.
yeah.
And they're in the
And,
row.
and they pick up in Monroe and they, every Monday in Bern, so.
That's for everybody in the county too, that's not just for our city residents.
The,
Yeah.
for the district, yeah, the
Solid waste.
transfer station
Yep.
accepts it from anyone from the county.
Right. Same with the building out by D&D on Thursdays. That's for anyone in the county. Anything else from council? Anything from public? Olivia, you have anything to add? All right.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims.
Second.
Motion to second to pay the claims. All in favor? Opposed, same sign.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed, same sign.